Okay, guys. So now we're going to get into a little bit of driving traffic to your site and making sales on Instagram. And this is a method that I teach across the board in a lot of my courses because this is such a fundamental and valuable way to drive traffic. Essentially, what you're going to want to do and what this method is target following. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to identify another page that's similar to you. So in this sense, we're going to go to official, because I already know that, but you know what? We'll just search for you. Just let's go to Blue Lives. Oh, there's a good one right there. Of course, official Blue Lives Matter. Okay, so this is a pretty good one. It's got 25,000 followers, but the followers isn't necessarily what we care about. Obviously, that's a good indicator. But what you're going to want to do is you're not going to want to engage with the follower count. You're going to want to target follow from the people that engage with the post, because that means that they're more, they're obviously real, they're more engaged, and if you can target follow from the ones that comment, then even more power to you. That's phenomenal. But what I like to do is I like to go into, here's 1,200 people that like this post, that are all targeted, that like this page, obviously, that like this post relatively recently, one day ago. So you know that they're active on Instagram, you know that they like your niche, you know that they're willing to engage with your posts. So these are the people that you want to target. And obviously you can like any of the posts. The most recents are probably the best, because you know that they're active the most recently. But what you're going to want to do, and you're going to want to limit this to 50 or 60 roughly. I've found people suggest 50. I've found that roughly 60 works. I haven't had any issue with that. But what you're really going to want to do is you're going to want to go in, you're going to want to follow the people that have engaged with these posts recently. Because like I said, you know that they're targeted and you know that they are more inclined to like your page back. And when you follow them, what that will do is that will send a notification to them so that they get back the blue or whatever the case may be with your niche has followed you. And what that will do is 99% of people will click it, want to find out who followed them, and then it will take you to your page. So we'll go back to your page. You can do this in any niche with anything. You just have to find a similar page, and I'm sure there's a multitude of similar pages on your niche. And then you're going to want to not steal, but essentially morph their followers over to yours. So that's the method that I teach, and works phenomenally. So what you're going to want to do is, what they're going to do is they're going to see that you follow them. They're going to click your page, and that's the importance of having those 9 initial pictures. And then obviously you're going to want to build off that and create more pictures and post more content, and having your site already set up and your bio and everything set up. Because when they come and they see, they're going to want to see that you have followers. Like I said, you can buy initial followers relatively cheap on Instagram, but you don't have to if you don't want to. The Reddit or the Facebook or just target following in general to start work phenomenally too. But you can start building that, and you'll start to see that when people, the faster you start building and the more followers you get, the more people will start following you. It's kind of the rich get richer type of thing, because when people click your page and they see that you have a bunch of great pieces of content in the form of pictures on Instagram and people engaging and liking and commenting and stuff, and you have a high follow count, they'll be more inclined to follow you because they'll have that, so there's that social proof, and they have that kind of primitive understanding that other people find this interesting, so they'll most likely find this interesting too, and a lot of people will follow you back. Now that conversion rate's not always phenomenal, the follow ratio isn't phenomenal. So in the next one, I'm going to go over how you can keep your follow and following ratio down and what you want. But essentially, what you're going to want to do is say you follow 50 people an hour on each account. Maybe realistically 10 to 20 of them follow you back if you have a good passionate niche. And if you get higher, that's phenomenal. If you get lower, it can increase. But that's 10 to 20 people every single hour for the rest of hours that you can, for the rest of hours, for as many times as you do this throughout the hours, that are going to start counting. And as the days go on, that will literally start adding up exponentially. And if you combine that with the Facebook and the Reddit method, as well as the other things that I talk about to generate traffic, you can really start seeing your follower count increase. And the more followers you have, the more people that are engaged with their posts, the more relevancy you have, the more likely and the more chance that people will click your link, go to your page or your store, and have potential to stay on there, engage with that, and make a purchase. And that will make you sales, that will make you commission, that will make you money. So all these methods are free. You don't need any money, like I said, but the things that I've suggested do help. So that's something to take into account. But this following method really, really works. Like I said, you're not going to want to target follow more than 50 to 60 an hour because Instagram's algorithm will flag you and prevent you from doing that. And if you get flagged too many times, they will ban your account. So be sure not to abuse it. But it's something to keep in mind. You just target follow 50 to 60 people every hour, and you'll start to see exponential growth, and you will make sales eventually. Trust me. And like I said, this is it's a process. You can also message people. You don't want to abuse that too because Instagram's algorithm, I have found, is really really tight on messaging. So maybe message 5 to 10 people an hour if you'd like. That will, if it's personal and not like a lot of people get spam, but if you send a personal message and they see that, they'll be more willing to like and follow you back and engage with your content too. So that can build your following and potential sales. You can also like pictures on your feed that will remind people that you have a page and that you're still relevant, obviously. And that will, if people like it usually goes like for like. So there's an underlying understanding and expectation on Instagram. If the more people like your pictures, if they can do it consistently, you're supposed to like them back essentially. So that will keep people engaged with your page and potentially help you make sales as well. Now, really fast, I'm not going to get into a tutorial because it's very self-explanatory, but there is an app. Once you start target following, you might ask yourself, well, what if I end up following 10,000 people and I only have 2,000 followers initially, and then you scale that up and you start following 100,000 people or something and you only have 10,000 followers or 15,000 followers. How do you keep that ratio instead of going in and have to unfollow everybody physically, manually yourself? How do you keep that ratio automated in the sense that you can kind of control it to keep your follower count higher? And one thing that I'd recommend is an app called InstaClean. That's Insta, INSTA, clean, CLEAN, no spaces in there. And what that will do is when you sign up, you can log in through your Instagram, and that will allow you to automate your unfollowing. So, you target follow a bunch of people throughout the day, and then the next day before you start target following, it's crucial to do it before you start target following, because if you do it and then you follow again, you might refollow some of the people already and they'll start to notice that. So you want to use InstaClean before you start target following throughout the day, and that will allow you to kind of drop your follower count by the thousands and then allow you to refollow a bunch of people throughout the day, and that will keep your ratio really really well. But basically what this does, guys, is it allows you to start building your Instagram up and give you more conversion rates. And how that's relevant is when you start doing this and you start mastering it on one account, obviously this is manual. I'm going to get into how to automate in the next one. But you can really scale it up. If you start to build all your following, you start to build and you get even 5 counts with 20,000 followers, which is not a lot at all. I have multiple Instagrams that have a lot more than that. Think about that. That's 20,000 people that are engaged with your content that you built up, that have potential to click your links. And if you really scale it up and you have 10 Instagrams like that, that didn't cost you any. If it did, it might have costed you a little bit of money, slightly. And you can just imagine the type of potential commissions that you can make, because what this method does, and the secret to passive income, is not some trick or magic pill. It's planting little seeds in multiple places. In this case, it's Instagram pages and in the form of links and stuff in your bio. But when people, you can scale it up by doing, if you have 10 Instagrams with 20,000 followers, which is not hard to get at all or create, and you really start working on them to build your following, those are little seeds that will grow into trees that will pay you dividends in the future. I promise you that. So that's how you scale it up. That's how you monetize your Instagram. And once you monetize one and you start to build a following and you perfect it, then you can replicate that process, and you with the other Instagrams and other niches that you're interested in, and that will really, really start to, establish you and increase your earning potential. So that's crucial, guys. I just want to get into that a little bit. I'm going to get into automation. You don't need the automation, but it helps a lot. So stay tuned for that on the next one.